TOEFL iBT internet-based testimizni listening practice'ni davom ettiramiz va bunda 19-trackni eshitishimiz kerak ekan.
Listen to part of a talk in a botany class.
Okay, so we've talked about some different types of root systems of plants, and I've shown you some pretty cool slides. But now I want to talk about the extent of the root system, the overall size of the root system, the depth. I want to tell you about one particular experiment. I think you're going to find this pretty amazing. Okay, so there was this scientist. This very meticulous scientist decided that the best place to see a whole root system, to actually see how big the entire system got, the best place would be to grow it where?
Water?
In water. So he took rye plants, it was rye plants, and he started growing them in water. Now, you've all heard of growing stuff in water before, right?
It's done commercially, right? Like to grow vegetables and flowers?
Right. They grow all kinds of commercial crops in water. So, if you're growing things in water, you can add the fertilizer. What do you need to do to that water besides put fertilizer in it? Anyone ever actually tried to grow plants in water? You must bubble water through it. Bubble gas through it. I'm sorry. You must bubble gas through it. So, gas, you have to bubble through. Think about the soil we talked about last week, about growing plants in soil. Think about some of you who have killed your favorite houseplants because you love them too much. If you overwater, why do your favorite houseplants die?
Oh, no oxygen.
Not enough oxygen for the roots, which do what 24 hours a day in all seasons?
Respiration?
Respire, respiration. They breathe. So if you just stick rye plants in water, it doesn't make a difference how much fertilizer you add. You also need to bubble gas through the water. So they have access to that oxygen. If they don't have that, they're in big trouble. Okay, so this guy, this scientist, grew a rye plant in water so he could see the root system, how big it got, its surface area. I read about this, and the book said 1,000 kilometers of roots. I kept thinking, this has to be a mistake. It just doesn't make any sense to me that could be right, but that's what all the books have, and no one's ever corrected it. So let me explain to you about this rye plant. If you take a little seed of many grasses, and remember, rye is a grass. If you take a tiny little seed and you germinate it, actually, take one of my least favorite grasses that starts growing about May. What's my least favorite grass that starts growing about May?
Crabgrass.
Crabgrass. Remember how I showed you in the lab? One little seed starts out producing one little shoot, then at a week or so later, you've got about 6 shoots. And then 3 weeks later, you've got about 15 shoots coming out all directions, like this. All those little shoots up there? Well, that's what they did with the rye. And the little seedlings started, and pretty soon there were several shoots, and then more shoots. In the end, that one single seed produced 80 shoots, with an average of 50 centimeters of height from one seed. 80 shoots coming out. Average 50 centimeters high. When they looked at the shoot versus the root surface, they found that the shoot surface, with all of its leaves, had a total surface area of about 5 square meters. Now, here's the biggie. When they looked at the root surface area, you would expect that the root and the shoot would be in balance, right? So they should be pretty close in terms of surface area, right? What's that? Did somebody say no? Well, you're absolutely correct. Instead of 5 square meters, the root system was found to have more than 200 square meters of surface area. Where did all of that extra surface area come from? Who did it? Who was responsible for all those extra square meters of surface area? What did roots do to increase their surface area?
Root hairs.
Root hairs, that's exactly it. So those root hairs were responsible for an incredible chunk of surface area. They constantly have to be spread out in the water so they can absorb minerals from the fertilizer. And of course, they need oxygen access as well.
Endi savoliga javob berishga boshlaymiz. 23. What is the main topic of lecture? Leksiyani asosiy mavzusi nima? The size of root system. Bo'lishi mumkin root sistemani, demak, overall hajmi. Various types of roots. Various types of root system haqida gapirmay, turli xil ildizlar haqida gapiriladi. Nutrients haqida, ya'ni rye plantlar uchun demak demak oq nutrient nima bo'ladi o'zbek tilida o'sha narsa haqida gapirib bilmadi. Demak, ozuqa degani menimcha. Improving two types of plant species. Improving haqida umuman gap bo'lgani yo'q. Shuning uchun ham birinchi javobni demak variantni olamiz. According to the professor, why did one scientist grow a rye plant in water? Nima uchun demak scientist olim rye plantni waterda demak o'stiribdi? To expose roots to sunlight. Sunlight ko'rsatish uchun rootga yo'q. Bu haqida ma'lumot yo'q. To be able to fertilize it with gas. Bu haqida ham ma'lumot yo'q. Ya'ni gaz bilan fertilizatsiya qilish haqida, ya'ni urug' berish haqida. To be able to urug' emas, fertilize degani demak minerallar berish. To be able to see its root system, to'g'ri, root sistemasini, ya'ni ildiz sistemasini ko'rish uchun how minerals penetrate its roots. Minerallar qanaqa qilib ildizni yorib o'tish haqida ma'lumot yo'q. Shuning uchun ham uchinchi variantni olamiz. The professor mentions house plants that receive too much water. Why does she mention them? Nima uchun house plantlar haqida aytgan? Chunki demak oxygen bo'lmasa, ya'ni kislorod bo'lmasa o'lib qolishini ko'rsatish uchun. To show that many types of plants can grow in water. Bu emas, suvda o'sishi ko'rsatish uchun emas. White plants grow in water should have gas bubbles through them. To'g'ri. Demak, suvda o'sadigan o'simliklar nima uchun gaz sharchalari bo'lishi kerakligini aytgan. Chunki gaz sharchalari ularga kislorod bilan ta'minlaydi. To remind students of the importance of the next experiment. Keyingi experiment haqida umuman gap yo'q. To make a point about length of houseplant roots. Houseplantni ilzini uzunligi haqida ma'lumot yo'q. Shuning uchun ham ikkinchi javobni oldik. According to the professor, why similarity is between crab gas and rye plants? Demak, crab gas bilan rye plant orasidagi demak o'xshashlik nima? Both are growing in the month of May. Yo'q, mayda o'smaydi anosi rye plant. Root system demak both have root systems require a lot of water. Ikkalasini ham root sistemasi suv talab qilmaydi. Both have more shoot surface and root surface. To'g'ri, bu ikkalasida ham demak shoot surface, ya'ni tepaga chiqqan uzunligi ildizlarning uzunligidan yuzasidan katta deyapti. Bu xato, chunki root surface shoot surfacedan katta bo'ladi. Ya'ni ildizlarning kattaligi tepada chiqadigan demak o'simlikni tepaligidan demak obyobidan miqdoridan kam. Both produce many shoots from a single seed. To'g'ri, bitta urug'dan ko'plab demak nima shu o'simliklar chiqib keladi deyapti. Misol berdi, bitta urug'dan 80 ta chiqqanligini misol qilib berdi. Shuning uchun ham 4-sini olamiz. Xo'p, bularga eshitamiz va savollarga javob berishga harakat qilamiz. 20-trackni eshitishimiz kerak.
Listen again to part of the lecture. Then answer the question.
What do you need to do to that water besides put fertilizer in it? Anyone ever actually tried to grow plants in water? You must bubble water through it. Bubble gas through it. I'm sorry, you must bubble gas through it. So, gas, you have to bubble through.
Why did the professor say this?
I'm sorry, you must bubble gas through it.
Xo'p, nima uchun professor bubble gas through it, ya'ni gazni demak ildizlarning orasidan demak sharcha qilib o'tkazib yuborish kerak dedi. Birinchi bubble water dedi, chunki suv o'tkazib yuborish kerak edi. Keyin uzr, men adashdim, gaz o'tkazib yuborish kerak. O'zini xatosini to'g'riladi. She wanted to correct the wording of previous statement. To'g'ri. Ya'ni xato qilib qo'ygan so'zini to'g'rilash uchun aytdi. O'sha uchun ham to'g'ri. She wishes she didn't have to bubble gas through. Yo'q, wish, ya'ni xohishi haqida umuman ma'lumot yo'q. Realized that odor of gas could be unpleasant. Gazni hidi haqida umuman ma'lumot yo'q. She forgot to tell the students about the next step in experiment. Eksperimentdagi keyingi etap bo'yicha umuman ma'lumot yo'q. Shuning uchun ham birinchi javobni variantni olamiz. Keyingi audiomiz.
Listen again to part of the lecture. Then answer the question.
I read about this, and the book said 1,000 kilometers of roots. I kept thinking, this has to be a mistake. It just doesn't make any sense to me that could be right, but that's what all the books have, and no one's ever corrected it. So let me explain to you about this rye plant.
What does the professor intend to explain? Listen.
Xo'p, nimani demak tushuntirmoqchi bo'ldi shu demak qismchada. Demak 1000 kilometr uzunlikdagi demak ildizlar dedi. Xo'p. Nimani tushuntirmoqchi? ildizlarning uzunligini, ildizlarning qanchalik kattaligini demoqchi menimcha. Why a mistake made in text were never corrected. Bu xato bo'lmagan va to'g'rilanmagan xato bo'lmagan. Bu haqiqiy fakt bo'lgan. Shuning uchun ham bu xato degan ma'lumotni olib tashlaymiz. Why she doesn't believe that roots ripens extend. Ishonmaslik haqida ma'lumot yo'q, u ishonadi, bu yerda ishonmaydi deyapti. How the roots of plant develop to such a great length. Demak, plantni o'simligini, demak, ildizlari qanchalik shuncha uzunlikka olib borishini tushuntirish uchun bu gaplarni boshladi. How plants grow in water make use of fertilizer. Fertilizer ya'ni urug'lar, demak, fertile degani, demak, hosildor. Fertilizer degani hosildor qilish bu yerda. Demak, fertilizer degani demak o'simlikka, demak, minerallar, o'simlik mineral, fertilizerni ko'rsatish sizlarga osonroq bo'lishi uchun. Mana bu fertilizer, ya'ni minerallar. O'simlikka qo'shiladigan minerallar. Shu minerallarni haqida umuman ma'lumot yo'q. Minerallarni qanaqa qilib qo'shish haqida ma'lumot yo'q. Shuning uchun ham 3-variantda javob sifatida olamiz. Keling, endi javoblarimizni birma-bir tekshirib chiqamiz. Xo'p, boshladik. Yigirma 24 to'g'ri. 25 2 26 to'g'ri. 27 1 28 to'g'ri. To'g'ri. Va keyingi audioni keyingi darsimizda, keyingi videomizda ko'rib chiqamiz.